So I don't know if you've yet seen this, but Yvonne Ridley is a Western journalist that is deeply sympathetic and supportive of Hamas, amazingly, and yet seems to have some level of credibility. And Douglas Murray reacted just now to an interview clip of her that's gone a bit viral, where she's talking to Julia Hartley-Brewer, who's a great British presenter, where Yvonne speaks about Hamas' acts of kindness and the goodie bags that they gave to the hostages. Have a watch, and then I'll show you what Douglas Murray had to say.
Any reason why Hamas couldn't and shouldn't release them all?
Once the hostages go, and every act of kindness that has been shown to Israel has just been backlash.
Sorry? What were those acts of kindness?
Well, they gave them goodie bags. I don't know what was in them, but they gave them gifts. They gave them mementos.
Sorry, the line's gone a little bit dodgy there, but she was saying they've given them mementos. I mean, it's just absolutely shocking, insane. I don't know how to put this more bluntly. I mean, just the fact that she could try to find any kind of saving grace of what Hamas have done. Hamas are modern day Nazis. Okay, there's no two ways around that. They intended to commit a genocide on the entire Jewish people. What they managed to do was the worst act of violence and evil against the Jewish people, the most murderous act since the Holocaust. And they don't care about nationalist ambitions. They simply care about their anti-Semitic ambitions. And what they did to Israelis on October 7th, killing, beheading, burning, raping, mutilating, kidnapping, and then with hearing testimonies of the torturing that they did to these hostages. And Yvonne talks about acts of kindness that Hamas have done. I don't know what mindset could bring someone to have such a distorted view of reality where good is evil and evil is good. Well, Douglas Murray weighed in on this. And he said in a conversation on Sky News Australia, I just want to quote to you what he said because this is his theory. He said, I mean, as well as torturing them, hanging them upside down, beating them and executing for 15 months, I'm interested to see what Yvonne Ridley means exactly by the acts of kindness. He said, I've known about her for a quarter of a century. She's a very sick and twisted individual. She used to work for a British newspaper, and when she did, she was taken captive by the Taliban in Afghanistan. And she suffered, and it's well known that she experienced Stockholm Syndrome and adopted their beliefs. So Stockholm Syndrome is when you end up justifying the actions of your abuser. So he says she converted to Islam while in Taliban captivity, but she didn't just convert in a moderate way. She fully embraced their extreme interpretation. In 2004, when Western journalists and workers were taken hostage, she referred to the Taliban as Brother Owie. There's never been an extremist cause that Yvonne Ridley hasn't supported. Now, there's obviously some psychosexual explanation for that. That's what Douglas says, which people more knowledgeable than me in human paranoia and mania could diagnose. But of course, it always ends up in this place. I'm glad that she's exposed herself once again as the lunatic she is. Anyone who looked at the emaciated men who were released in what was a very unfair swap, murderers or innocent murderers that are Palestinian prisoners for people who had been kidnapped. But anyone could see that these were men who had been put through hell for the last 15 months. In fact, in all three cases, it appeared from the footage they had to learn how to walk again just in the days before they were released. These men had been put through absolute hell by the barbarians in Hamas. Yes, you really have to have the sick psychology of someone like Yvonne Ridley to believe that after all this so-called goodie bag, God knows what that really means in this context, should be given to the hostages and applauded. Fortunately, I see that the end of Hamas is near, and Yvonne Ridley will be one of those sick Westerners who have to find another death cult to attach herself to, because she's not going to have many allies left. So Douglas, as ever, hitting the nail on the head. And you know what? I actually think that, there are people who tried to appease and even support the Nazis during World War II, and in the aftermath faced a great deal of humiliation and shame as the world came to terms with their evil. I think we're going to be seeing a similar thing with those who got behind the Palestinian cause, who got behind Hamas. There's nothing virtuous in the Palestinian cause. Far from it being the cause that represents conscience in the West, it's actually an unconscionable cause, because its aim is not human rights and self-determination as it purports to be. It's actually about the degradation and elimination of Judaism and the Jewish people, because Judaism and Israel are completely intertwined. Our history in that land goes back for centuries, far longer than even Islam has existed, and the attempt is to try and sever that connection, to steal Jewish history and Judaism and Jewish identity. So therefore, more and more people with time will wake up to that fact, and there's going to be a serious moral accounting, ultimately, sooner or later, for those who got behind a cause that is completely unconscionable.
Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.